So I thought I would try just a scribbly face. I'm not going to try to have it be perfect, I'm just going to try to have it be fast. And so I have, these are Pitt pens in different colors. I'm going to start, I always start with a lighter color because it's easier to make it darker later versus making, like you can't really make it lighter later. So this is, I don't know the name of the color, but it's 188 is the number. And I'm just going to, I always start with the eyes. And I'm just doing quick, sketchy. I'm not really worrying if the eyes are the same size. It's fine, whatever. Add a little, there's always like a little darkness in the corners. I don't know how this will turn out. I'm just trying it. Now I do the nose, and there's always some darkness on the side of the nose. I never usually color the inside. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and now we're gonna do the mouth. Mouth, I always do like a curve this way, a curve this way, and then swoop it together. I like to do a little curve down like this to show the chin. And sometimes I like to puff the cheeks out, so we're going to do that today. Just a little bit. Makes you look a little chubby. Now we need a neck. And now we need some hair. We're going to make her curly. So I'm not really thinking this out, I'm just moving fast. I am having my pen move really quickly, and there we have the basic shape. Now I'm going to add in my eyeballs, and I'm going to have her looking off to the side. And the last thing we need are some eyebrows. So there we have a basic shape. I could stop with the face right there, and sometimes I do. Today though, I'm going to use a slightly darker. This is a brown one, 175. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to add just wherever I want the shadows to be a little darker. So that's going to be around the eyes. These are kind of like K shapes. They don't have to be that obviously a K, but always add a little for the nostrils and underneath the nose like this. Add some more in for the pupils. And in the corners of the mouth. Like that. A little bit under here and a little bit in there. And then to define the chin from the neck. And then one side of the neck. Sometimes I do both, it really just depends. I didn't really think about where my light was coming from, I'm just doing it. I think I went a little here. And then often I'll do a little darker under the hairline to show that the hair is like three-dimensional. And then just to fill it in, oh, let's do here. Let's do the top of the eyes a little darker. So now she needs a little color. So I'm going to use, these are both, these were, the ones I just worked with were medium point, M. And then these are brush. And I'm going to start with the lighter kind of purpley color, which is 134. And I'm just adding a bit of color where her cheeks would be, a little color in her mouth, and top of her eyes. It just kind of makes her warmer. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit darker, same brush tip, and this is number 133. And I'm just going to do it on the edges of where I added the color. Okay, so now we have face. I feel like I like her just like that, but you know what, I think I am going to add some color. So, okay. Instead of using a water pen today, I'm just using, this is just a regular paintbrush. It says it's number 6, but honestly I just grab whatever paintbrush. I don't worry about if it's supposed to be for watercolors or not. I guess I should, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. And then I just have some water. I actually prefer to use a regular paintbrush with watercolor paints like this versus a water brush, because I feel like I can control how much water I have a little bit better. With the pencils, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. Like, the water brush works perfectly, but for the paint I find that I want a little more water. So I'm just gonna, the cool thing about the Pitt Artist Pens is that I can paint right on top of these. It's not gonna smear my lines. I don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to, and I'm gonna start, I'm gonna shade the face more, so I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna start with like this kind of medium looking brown. This probably has a certain name, but I don't actually know what it is. And I'm just gonna go under the eyes here. I'm gonna grab a little more water and I'm gonna kind of pull that down a bit. Again, I'm really not trying to make this perfect. I'm just painting for the sake of doing it. I don't have a specific mission in mind. I don't really care if it ends up looking bad or not, even though I'm recording it, because I just want to do it. So kind of see how I went around the edges of the cheeks. I usually try to leave the middle part. Sometimes I do a little higher. It's kind of low for this. But that kind of shows where the light hits it. The light is always hitting the parts of the face that are sticking out a bit, which is why I don't do too much paint on the nose. I'm going to go up here. Same, I always leave like this part white, and that shows where the light is, and darker around the edges, because that's where it starts to wrap around the face away from the light. You could definitely work a lot slower. I just like to work fast sometimes, and I don't think about it too much, and I'm usually pretty happy with what happens. And make it a little darker on this side. You know, I like it just like that. So I'm going to do her hair, and I'm going to make her hair this darker brown. So when I use the watercolor, I'm just adding some water, rubbing my brush around to get it loaded up with color, and then painting. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go around the edges. I'm kind of moving my brush in the shape of these like curls on her head. And then I'm just adding water when my brush feels dry. Because I'm using watercolor paint, I could really pull that color away from where I put it down. Even after it dries a little bit, I can reactivate that color so that I can take it where I want it. That also means you have to be careful, if you don't want to take the color away, to not get it wet. Looks like I just need a little bit more up here. Alright, so I just need to do her eyes. I think I'm going to make her eyes be green. Yeah, just a little bit here. And then pull it in. See, I went out the lines a little bit there. That doesn't bother me. Whatever. Oh, I think her mouth needs a little bit more. A little bit of red. I'm going to start again in the corners. I'm going to add the color. Now I'm going to pull that out. I guess I'll go over her cheeks a little. I'm just a little bit. It doesn't really need it, but it kind of blends it in better. So, I'm adding a little tiny bit more dark up here. Oops. A little bit here. There we go. I like it. I guess I'm going to paint the background. I don't always do that, but I'm going to go for I'm just going to use yellow. And I'm just doing it basically so that the white is not so starkly white. Just quickly. I'm not worried about getting all of it covered. There we go. I might decide to go in here later and add some text or something. I don't know. I might leave it just like that. But I encourage you, just go crazy with the pen and see what happens.